Good morning. It is 10:30 a.m. just after. It is Sunday, and that means it is time for Sunday Club, a weekly Ruby on Rails live stream where each week we do some Ruby on Rails coding together and build an app. And the app that we are working on is an event registration and ticketing application, and it's moving pretty slowly at the moment, but that is okay. And we've worked on another application in the past. You can find everything that has been streamed in the YouTube channel archive. Go back there, take a look. Sunday Club, SUNDAE Club. Just Google that and you will find everything you need. Got zero follow-up because I haven't looked at this stuff all week. We're going to dive straight back in pretty much where we left off. And we are, the only thing worth mentioning is that I have updated my Mac. So if nothing works, it might be because macOS Monterey has decided that it doesn't want to work. Already found a couple of bits with Git this morning that weren't too happy, but let's see what we do. And I'm just going to pour this coffee before I go too much further. Get into it. All right. A lot of coffee. All right, let's get into it. Okay. Oh, good morning. Hello in the chat. Let's let's do this. Let's take a look at where we were. All right, so last week we basically spent a long time doing nothing, discussing 4 billion different ways to accomplish the same goal, about having one model upon creation, create another, create an associated record. So we have an order that we want to be created, and at the same time, we want to create one attendee, and we want to pass some of the attributes of the order onto the attendee. And we looked at a bunch of different options. I'm not really going to reiterate them, and I didn't really prep anything, so it was all sort of all over the shop. We were looking at adding a class method onto order, onto attendee, like create for order. We looked at having an order creator class that would do those things, and what that would return a response object. And we also, the one that I've kind of ended up with from last week was discovering, maybe rediscovering, don't know if I've ever used it, like validates associated attendee, and then just building it straight up in the controller. And the reason that I think we're going to pick that is just that's one of the simplest and most kind of dependent on Rails mechanisms that we've got. So I think everything else that we discussed last week, like there are 1,000 ways to do this. So if you're doing other things, like they all make total sense. I probably, as soon as we introduce any complexity into this, other than just like building one attendee for an order, would reach for one of those other solutions. This is probably like just the most basic implementation that we're introducing here. So this is like the maximum logic that I would ever really think we need in a controller that's doing something like this. But it gets us there. What we want to do is write some tests, because we didn't do that last week because I was kind of just chatting around it, really. Don't think I was feeling very well last week. I wasn't really feeling great. I might go back and watch that stream, see if I was not well. Right, let's get into some tests. Let's do this. Right. So what do we actually want to happen? Because I'm still learning about request specs versus controller specs. So we want to do, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to know that this works. We want to know that this creates an extra attendee, and that if it fails, that if it's an invalid attendee or something goes wrong on saving the attendee, that it will bring an error back to the user. We need to solve the problem that the user actually won't see an error at the moment because we haven't got any errors showing. And we want to probably have, I guess there's already a feature spec for this, right? Let's check what we've actually got originally. System test something. So creating an order with a valid event. Come on. Yes, I mean, this one shows that everything works when it's successful. Okay, fine. Okay, let's just start. Do we want to put in something at the model level? Do we want to test this? This is sort of Rails behavior, so I would guess probably not. But do we put it in as like a regression test in case someone accidentally removes this? Just take a look at what that would look like then. Again, as ever, I say this at the start of every stream. You probably shouldn't be asking these questions a lot. Like when you're like, not that you shouldn't be asking the questions. They're valid. It's that like you would normally have like planned a bit better and done some prep work and things like that. Like on the stream, we're just winging everything. Whereas you might have a policy for your code base on testing, like some some testing guidelines. You'd have like some existing behaviors you could take a look at. You'd have discussed it in advance, things like that. We don't do any of that good normal stuff on the stream. We're just winging it. So that's just a usual caveat that we give. Okay, so let's do this order one. So let's see if this is valuable or not. Can we do this? We'll validate a presence of, do an association. Let's see if that will solve our... Let's also see if upgrading to Monterey broke anything in our Rails world. Oh, okay, so validate presence of attendee. I mean, that's sort of it, because if it doesn't create successfully, I mean, I think this test wouldn't. I think this wouldn't have any value. Let's write it out and see what we think. So if we do... something like this, I guess. We can just do... Oh, because you need the attributes. Can we just do a factory.build then? Did we update the factory to include the association? No, so expected to have one attendee. Let's run our test suite. How many things now fail based on introducing that validation? Anything? And the validation that we introduced, the fact that you need an attendee on an order. Yep, looks like we broke a few things. I'm wondering if that's just because the factory then doesn't have an association that it expects. Yep, attendee can't be blank. Attendee can't be blank. So this is... We have an event on the order, but is that validated on the model? Oh, is it that they're all validated these days because it's not optional true? It's like a Rails 6 thing, isn't it? Like, I think if we took the event out, oops. Damn it. Factory order. I think if we took that out, everything would fail. Sorry, just checking my my understanding of what's happening here. I think we should have failures there saying that you can't. You need an event. I guess we might still get the attendee failure, depends which one buys first. Event must exist, attendee can't be blank. Yeah, okay, great. And that's not explicit in the model. Why does that keep opening when I do Command-Shift-T? Because belongs to used to all be optional by default. And then they got switched to being required by default. And then you have to be optional true if it's optional. Fine. So in our factory, we do want to put in factory order attendee. And just run the whole lot again, I guess. Just to see if we fix those other tests. Check the audio on the stream. Yeah, that's working. It didn't fix those tests. Okay, cool. Trainer registered attendee referenced within order definition. So you can't do a has. Well, oh god, my memory of all stuff is always so bad. So an event belongs to an organization, so you can put that in. And can you do the thing where you do like factory type or something? I'm gonna have to Google the syntax for this. Let's take a look. Do you have to put it in the after build or something? It won't let us do it. And then you get into all of the fun, like transient stuff that I can never remember either. Like this. I'm just making this up, by the way. I can't remember the syntax for any of this stuff. Do I have to define the traits on that as well? Oh god, how does my brain never store any of this stuff? Oh, do I just not have a factory? Oh, I'm an idiot. That would explain that. Like, hey, why can't we make an attendee? You're like, oh well, actually, there isn't such a thing as an attendee. Great. So what does an attendee have? Order number? No, that's an order. Belongs to order an event. Okay. So presumably I can just write attendee, which was what I was planning on doing originally. Does that work? I'm just running all the tests by default. Make this quicker by running one, but. Okay, something's happening there. Is this recursive? No? Maybe. Oh, yes, I think we have created a problem. Okay. Is that trying to create an attendee, which is trying to create an order, which is trying to create an attendee, which is trying to create an order? In which case we'll get like a 2D bearer or something like that. I love that you can find more factory girls getting started. Like the bit about factory girl that I forgot how to do is it's like the most basic thing that you do regularly. Okay, so can I just remove order from here? Okay, yeah, we get it. It's broken. Let's try that again. I've taken order out of here, so the attendee shouldn't try and create the order. You should hear my laptop fan. It's going crazy. That's still not working. Amazing. Order must exist. Oh, because this isn't valid, maybe? What else does an attendee need? That should be it. Just wanted an event. Oh, come on. I mean, I did write in the YouTube description that we were going to be doing testing today, so triggering my memory of factory bot might hopefully be associated useful for someone else. Do we use the association then? Just trying to check what's actually going wrong here. Validation failed order must exist. Where is that on the attendee? It just looks so weird every time I come back to it, like just passing back in like that. I tried to do that as a one-liner and it didn't work for some reason. Okay, and this broke for an entirely different reason. Just do this one. Hope you're having a good morning wherever you are or whenever you're watching this later on. These streams recently have been like really specific about just like trying to move one tiny thing forward. But like I said, this year's we weren't going to cover any kind of wide topics of trying to get like a gem investigator or anything. And for me, like a reminder of factory bots association syntax is a totally valuable reminder to have. So okay, yeah, that's definitely doing something recursive because my fan is going crazy. All right, so it's not that syntax. I think if I was cheating, I would go and look at where I've done this before, but we're gonna Google it around together. We should just check the docs. Associations. Okay. What can we do? Yeah, I think we got caught in a bit of a loop there. Okay. Add this. What does that do? So I'm trying. Once we then take the order out of the attendee factory. Am I cooking something up here? Because this seems pretty basic. Sums it up. Okay, null value in column event ID of relation to attendees. Of event ID. Because it's only building the event. Generating data for a hazmat. Behavior of the association method varies. Make this font bigger. The behavior of the association method varies depending on the build strategy used for the parent object. Create post, new record, false. So that actually has just done the full create. And then builds buzz but does not save a post. Oh, but does not save either. Don't know what the other strategy is. This is presumably a synonym for the kind of one-liner syntax. No, because that one didn't work. Order must exist. Well, wait, so that's not the same as that? Oh, because order is missing from that. We should get order not exists. Order does not. Order must exist. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But when I'm doing this and getting order must exist, is the fact that the attendee is created through the order not specifying it? Oh shit, I just closed it. I'm definitely cocking that up. Okay, I'm definitely messing that up. And I'm not understanding why. So I can do maybe the syntax we were using before isn't the strangest thing in the world then. Is it? Oh. That cannot be right. Is that not? Seeing if this works. Okay, it works. Okay, so now we've got something that works and I'm confused as to this. I mean, the syntax makes sense, but isn't that exactly what this is doing. I've definitely misread this then. Possible to say if the factory name is the same as the association, the factory name can be left out. Okay. You can override attributes. Great. Okay. The behavior of the association and the build strategy. Builds and saves. Why wasn't it just doing that? And it would have had order.attendee.new record. Let's Google, so factory bot has one after build association. Now I just want to know where factory has one. I mean, let's take a look at some of these. Maybe someone answers this question. Quick workaround for me is to wrap the profile creation. So that's what I've done. Well, then after build. Is it that we need it to be lazily evaluated? So it does. Because we need to pass through the association, don't we? What happens if we make this a build? Null value convertibility and attendee. This event doesn't subsequently get created, and therefore it's empty when it goes to get. So this is just when there's that fun one where you sort of create one factory that saves about 15 things. But an order has to have an event, so that feels fine. You're going to have to go. Or already. Oh, okay. We already have an event. Attendee order is order event. Event. Does that work? Okay. I mean, this is all fine. This is satisfying my own curiosity more than anything else. I don't think we're learning anything. What line length is this? We've got to get some rubric up. Maybe that's what we could do at the end of this. Okay, so that was a massive detour to. Oh wait, is that with order still in there? Let me just check. I think it was. Cool. We're learning a lot. We're remembering about factory bot. We're happy. Everything is passing. Great. What were we doing? We were trying to find a test that I didn't think we were even going to keep. Yeah, we don't know about that, but it's also validated, so we have to keep it because you can't have it. Don't forget that what we were talking about originally in the kind of lack of planning of this stream is that all of these are going to get swapped out for line items. So at the moment we're associating an attendee directly with the order, but all of these associations can go away when we introduce the concept of line items to the order, which is something that we did in past streams back in the day. Let's build an order. Let's build an attendee. don't know if this, it's a test that I started off that I wasn't sure going to have any value, and I'm also now not sure if we can, how good writing it is going to be, but let's do this. Build won't. I might just need to not use build here because we. Let's just see what happens. So we can say and the attendee is not valid. Make this font a bit bigger again. And the attendee is not valid. Not safe. So in here we can say we can let's just see what it actually does. Like, this is just a dummy line here. Expect orders.errors to equal something. I don't know what's about to happen here, because I'm not quite sure what we're going to get from that build up there. So bundle exec. It's good, these memory refresh things. So we're getting these database ones, but that's presumably because the attendee isn't actually validating anything. Doing all that from memory, no idea if that's the right syntax. And when I'm doing it from memory, the answer is usually it is not. So that's in the factory. Order.attendee. Right, okay, because it's trying to do that. So then we could do, well, that's going to be I think this is all awful. And this is all really contrived because it's just because we haven't really planned out the proper way to do things. Like, none of this is stuff we would have actually bumped into if we just planned the feature from end to end. Where are we actually bumping into? That's still in the create of our... Okay, so what I was trying to see here, maybe this test is useful actually. So what I was trying to see is, do we get this error? So what we're saying here is we have an order and we're assigning it an invalid attendee, okay? And at the point when we come to save it, we're getting this database error. What we really want is for it to just not save successfully. And instead have an error in active record, which is what we did have in the actual orders controller. So in here, let's do the same thing that it's doing. Oh, maybe it didn't work actually, because when we pulled one of these things out, I think the error was just the database won't do it. Build attendee. Is there anything it cares about? The event. That can be. Oh, we can actually build an event. Or we can create an event. Trying to see if we can get an active record error rather than the database blowing up. Because it's already got and the attendee is trying to create the order. Okay. I'm guessing that's not doing what I think it's doing either. Or with that nail that's kicking in. Sorry, just totally trying to satisfy my curiosity about factory bots behavior on this stuff. Right here. So now we've got an invalid attendee. And it's because we were calling on the create previously. So if we still do this, do we get the same error there? Yeah, we're reaching in and making that. We can do. How do you query that? It's like just trying to remember how to actually ask rspec about that. So we order errors. With that? No. Okay. There it is. errors.add. I just want to read the message. I can't remember the errors base. Isn't that what I did? Oh, wait, is it attendee? Is invalid. Okay, great. It's not on base. All right, what are we doing here? Why is this good or bad? What do we think about this? Is this crazy? Is invalid handling message array? Okay, what do you do? Like 2s on it? Errors.name. Just it's an array with a string in it. Errors attendee.name, and what's that one doing? Oh man, everything is okay. Okay, that's testing and assign. Okay. Is there an API for that, or do I just flatten the array? This is every Sunday morning is just a memory test, which I fail constantly. Okay, errors.orders. Not name. That gets you. So what is that? That is an active model deprecation handling message array. And what does that have on it? To sentence? What does sentence give you? Nice. Does that give you the same as 2s? No, 2s it does the string. All right. I think that's great. I've done to sentence on there as it's like a collection. Right, let's just move on because I want to talk about this test for a second. Right, so it does this pass. I'm really glad I put that we were going to do tests in the YouTube description of this video, because or in the title of this video. Tidy this up a little bit, try and see what we're doing. Okay, so we have an event. We build an order, and the factory builds. No, the factory creates that attendee. That's why we're not getting that error. And what the question I was trying to answer is, we're always getting that MySQL, that SQL error back. Does that ever get wrapped when you do whatever the thing we did on the model was, like validates association? I guess not. Do we have to catch that ourselves? Because I think what I've had in the past is because this has already been created by this point, like that's persisted. So in here, jump back in and check my understanding of what's happening here. Yeah, that's already been saved. So all we're talking about is resaving. So I think we should probably try this just without working factory. So let's just give that a try. So here we could do and then so here I think I would expect to see that database error again. But we don't. Okay. Great, so we're essentially, okay, so that works. So what is happening there? I mean, do we even need that at that point? So we don't care that there isn't an event there. No, that still passes. So what we would also expect is order persisted. Oh, is that even doing? That's not even doing anything. So can we? Okay. So that is the message when we try to, when the attendee is not valid. So that's what we're doing there. Guys are having fun. We're watching me remember is invalid. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, I just got a message about something happening in my gun. Is it invalid? So this should not pass because I updated that. But it can't be blank. Did I not save this? Oh, sorry. Okay. Right, so what I think we're doing there is basically testing Rails behavior, which we probably don't want to do. So I've written all of that. But I learned a lot about the factory bot of it all, and that we probably didn't need that to start with, but like what this is doing, and this is fail because it's doing the create. And can we just do this rather than factory bot create? What does that mean for it? Isn't that what the strategy build was? Guess that's the issue because we haven't created that yet. This test won't fail because of that one, I don't think. Let's try this one. Let's try running all the tests. All right. Oh my God, we've been going like 1,000,000 hours. All right. So factory bots build didn't work there, but Rails is did. So okay. Okay, fine. This test can stay because it works. I mean, it was interesting to we'll keep it as a reference to the stream. I think it can go in the long term. We don't need to check when it's not there because that's what that one does. Wouldn't normally put multiple expectations in here, but just gonna leave these for now. Like, it's stream code. We're not hurting anyone. we're not doing anything that's good. We're not worried about that. All right, let's unstage all of this. Is this all staged? No, okay. So let's do this one first. Let's do yeah. We got to remember that you can't expect the stream to the code we write on the stream to be something we've given any thought to. It's Sunday morning. If we wanted to write good code, we would do these streams at a different time of a different day, different time of the week. Add factory for attendee record. I'm not sure we've ended up with the optimal factory bot code for. Oh wait, this is the wrong thing. Hang on. The factory for attendee is not where I want to write that. That's just boring. Yeah, that one can just go in as a one-liner. That doesn't do anything. The commit I'm trying to write is for. Oh, God, this is too many tabs open. Right, shut all of these. Shut all this down. All right, what do we want to save? This. This. We don't need, no, we don't need this because we just had this conversation. They're all already validated. That doesn't matter. I was trying to see if they would wrap the error differently. Oh, actually, was that, did that work? Let's run, No, it didn't matter because we still... The error we were wrapping was on the order model. Yeah, okay. So this can go in. That's fine, that's fine. And that's fine. What's all this crap? Doing that stuff. Oh, let's see what happens here. So we think that should just be a nice error. Okay. This is all fine. We've learned a lot. Add validation. What on order model? This is a very this is a very constrained association at the moment. We are saying that each order, pump the font size up, that each order only have one attendee. In future, we'd like to introduce multiple attendees per order. But we think that will come at the point when we something like line items and lack of planning on the live stream meant that this limited version was a minimal. Reasonable starting place. Don't even know if it is. Bonkers. Okay, so we want to say... I'm not sure that the factory bot code or the attendee association is optimal. I think there's a better / built in way. Handle that in factory bot. But I couldn't find it in the 10 minutes we spent Googling around a stream. I'll be honest in these git commits. Also, I think the model test might be testing Rails validates associated. It was for the stream and helped me figure out factory bot behavior. All right. Committed. What else is uncommitted? What's unstaged? Orders controller. Let's build a test. Let's write tests for the controller, but they're not controller tests. They are request specs. Let's jump back over here. Go to spec requests. Orders controller spec. don't even have a create action control. Create for this. Okay. Let's make one. So I guess. Okay, so what is the actual action we're doing? It's a create action, and I'm guessing that that is posting to slash orders. Just check that. Orders path post orders create. Yep, okay. And with valid params. Get this one passing first, so we say let's just see if it build. Let's just see if it creates an order at all. Is that reasonable? I don't know what the params are for this. Event ID, owner name, and owner email. Does it need to be a real owner ID? I don't know. A real event ID, sorry. Owner name. Let me owner name. Owner email can be email. All right. So we've got this. I think this is the syntax for this. Yep, we've done it there. Params, okay. Got an event. Don't know if we need a real one or not. Got those two things. Does it create one? Let's see what it does. Probably missed about 1 million things in there, but let's not let that worry us. Didn't even run. Oh, is that the... like that? So it re-rendered, I'm guessing. Undefined method ID for nil. Right, and we're assigning event equals order event, which wouldn't exist because we haven't got one. I mean, it would have failed, but the params had been invalid. Okay, so we can just make an event. That gonna help? Find out. Oh, yes. Okay, great. So we also want it to let's check something. So this can be can we do this? Does this work? Does that, if we put a query in there, will that evaluate? I should have no idea if that works. I don't. Because at the point where that was run, it's lazy loading it, whereas that thing is explicitly not lazy loading it, right? Okay, I think that's what's happening there. If we switch that back to order.count, does it suddenly pass? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, cool. So can we do this? I think this has to be in a before, doesn't it? Can you assign an instance within that? I don't think that's right. Oh, spec 42. Query by 1. No. No. Okay. I was just seeing if we could just like, is this helpful in any way? Like adding a scope to these? Like, I don't know. This is the kind of thing where I was going to look at other existing code, because there's usually better ways to do this. Like, we're just checking that that's been created. and we're just checking that we know that it's the right thing that's been created, rather than like some quirk of the code creating some other random order or something. But I don't know if that's actually a useful test or not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here you could do again, this is all stuff you might not want to be doing in your test, depending on your testing strategy, but yeah, that wouldn't work, would it? You'd need it's the wrong thing anyway. Just check that this changes. Yeah, it does. Okay. Again, you could so I think these get passed through. So so here, because you perhaps want to test the pass-through behavior of these ones here, you could, instead of testing this, you could sort of run I mean, you're sort of already assuming that no, you don't need before D because you're already there. Attendee. So I'm just changing the test. Again, I don't know if any of this is any good or not. Is this valuable? check that these attributes are passed through. So I mean, this could be attendee.last, I guess. Do it like that. Check the email had been passed through, and you could check that the event was. What else gets passed through? Name, and you've already got name by doing it that on the select. Pass. Oh, we haven't actually run reaction. Oh, it should just be event. I mean, so we're sort of checking that it creates a new order, it creates and it's passed those attributes through to that it should also have I mean, because we're doing it in the controller, we'd want the test for, I guess, so it's although I think that's validated on order, is it? Yeah, that's validated, so we don't really need to check that it generates an order number. It has to. If we remove that, it will fail anyway. Testing this. Then if we pass it with invalid params, oh, so what we can do here is do params. Maybe we need that. And then we can say what does it do? It does not create a new order. And that one we actually do we don't really care about it creating the right one. Just don't want to create any one. And it so if we do create action, we can do expect. Oh, so on the request spec, is this the one where we don't request spec render template where we don't test that. Response to render template. New. All right. Are we getting on with any of that? Right, so a set template has been extracted to a gem. Okay, so this is the one I was going to say, like we don't do that anymore. So we can just do I check the response body for the error code? I mean, it's there. I don't think that's amazing. I've read this before. I've read this 10 times. I've read this on the stream, and I have to check it every fucking time. The problem, you get past a lot of code in a day, and holding it all in. Okay, this is just using redirect, so I don't know. Okay, so is the idea here that replacing controller sets for features and integration test requires a little more thought than using request specs? Okay, but like here I'm testing that the database behavior has changed. The request spec wouldn't tell me that. It would simply tell me that you could have a scenario where the thing had saved errantly, like you saved the association, but you still got the correct user behavior, and I want to test both. Because otherwise I've got database queries in my system tests. So I'm not sure that it is digging too much into the implementation just to say, hey, did you render this? Guys, maybe I just put that gem in. I agree about having a feature test and a controller test, but testing what intervals are set in your controller is about it. Okay, so we're not doing that. We're testing the. I don't think we're doing that because we're testing the outcome. And the outcome is we want these things not to have been saved to the database. You should be testing what DOM elements it expects to be there in a controller. Deprecate and recommend using assert select. Remember, with your testing controller doing a full system test, I'm very sympathetic to system testing. Okay, here's my question. If you're checking mutations happen in the DB, have you ever done controller tests? Test full system, you can testing it. Yes, check DB mutations. Okay, so okay, I genuinely read this multiple times as well. Hopefully on these streams it is useful to see that, like, other people aren't destroying this. Maybe people are just totally remembering all of this every time, but blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, this has really wandered off into the weeds. Oh my God, 47 hidden items. All right, fine. All right, well, maybe we just don't care then that what it does. The controller doesn't create a new thing, and there should be a feature spec that tests the error. Okay. Fine, let's do that. So I'm just gonna like I can. Oh, I've got to look up. Like this is where I get so used to just having existing tests. And it's like when I blah 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 in the context. Can't remember. With a valid event. When I enter valid data. So here. So that one should now fail. This isn't. This isn't correct. You should see an error instead. Cool. What we actually want to do is put what does come out. I think, is it like can't remember. Rails system tests within. It's just like with kappa bar, isn't it? Can you do a within expect? Like we're testing the specific error message, but it's a system test. It's a feature test, so I think that's okay. Okay, so that passes. So then if we do this, I just want to check whether page is doing what I think it's doing. The within is doing what I think it's doing. Great. Okay, so that fails unless that specific message is found within that. And this is auto-generated by simple form 4. So really tying this test to the DOM and the auto-generated parts of the DOM. So like this is auto-generated from Rails. This is auto-generated from simple form 4. But we haven't really discussed any sort of testing strategies around anything, as you can see from all of this stream. So sort of just having a test that does something is better when we'll bother to write down how we actually want to do that stuff. All right, let's run all of these tests then. And while that's running, I think we can stage these changes. So orders controller and orders controller spec. And creating an order spec. And if they pass, we can commit that they've passed. Okay, great. So we can say what actually is in. We want to create an attendee, a new order. I would probably mention if this was sort of like a a code base that other engineers were working on. The blurb we had in the previous commit, which was like, this is a constrained association, blah, blah, blah. Probably want to re-mention that. So while building a very minimal version of this app for the live stream, we are temporarily limiting. If I agree with some of this, this version, we are creating that. I should put in this commit. So what I'm going to say here, one of the things we did in the last stream is look at like other approaches to this, which was we discussed, like you could put it on a callback on the model. You could have a separate class that just created the order and the attendee and did all that building stuff. And you could do all those fun things. We opted to do the most basic thing, which is chuck it in the controller, which is not ideal. So let's say that we wanted to have in the admin controller a create order button. Well, we would have to replicate all of the tests and logic we've just added here in that controller as well to replicate what is probably the same behavior. But because we don't think this behavior is sticking around and we don't know it's going to be the same, I think this is probably fine. But you, like, if this wasn't live stream code, I don't think I would bother doing it this way because it's almost guaranteed that you're going to want to create orders elsewhere. So you're going to want to have a class that does that. And we can then have a nice stream where we extract this out. But hopefully the tests will still pass because remember, the tests are only checking that the order gets created and the attendee gets created. So we can change the implementation in this method. Even if we swap this out to something that we were discussing as an example, which would be like, well, all of this could go to be like order create. So this was all from last week. Dot new, or like some people have services. So you could have like order service dot new. That could be the create order, all of these fun things. Or you could just do it on the class itself. Like you could override the create method. You could do create with attendee. You could do like, you got nothing but options. You got so many options. So many options. Now I've just fucked up all my code is actually coming. So what I was trying to say is we're not doing any of that fun stuff, but we will do. VUN. Oh, sorry, in the chat. VUN. I don't know what that is. Sorry. In this commit, we are creating an attendee in the controller. This isn't necessarily the optimal to do this in the long term. But it gives us a starting place and we can extract this out on future live streams. Deliberately not added the any rendering checks to the quest spec in the event of an error here. Oh shit. Oh the I've just command queued that. Did I just lose that entire commit message? Come on, guys. Did I just lose that entire message? Oh, thank God. Okay, so it didn't commit, but I also didn't lose it, which is the most important thing. You've deliberately not added any rendering checks to the request specs in the event event here. And instead move that to the system spec, as I think that's what's intended now. Cool. All right, what's left? What we got? And this is kind of dummy code where we were showing the attendees on the orders within the admin area. All right, but what we wanted to do, this can stick around, not too fussed about this, but what we want to do is actually have an attendee area, don't we? So this is what we looked at a little while ago. All right, so this is our admin area. It looks rough as anything, as ever, but we have edit to edit. This is an event. And these are all of the events that we can administer, because we're within our organization, Sunday Club. Edit this event. Ooh, fancy. And we can see all the orders for this event. We've got 2 orders. And we can see the public page, the public facing page for this event where you can buy tickets. Amazing. What we can't do is see the attendees. So if any of the orders have attendees, we can see them. None of these ones have any orders. Okay, fine. But what we really want is an attendees tab. So let's go build that out. That's where we started about 3 weeks ago. Let's do that. So we are back in our admin area. And we're back within our events, and we already have an orders controller spec, right? So this is within the event, within admin. Okay, so we're nested. Admin, events, orders controller. What we're going to do is we're going to have admin, events, attendees controller. So let's build that out. Attendees controller spec. And this is yet another reminder that we haven't built any. Oh man, I've really got. Maybe that should be next week's stream, is building out all of the shared stuff that we can extract from these request specs. Like the as an admin can just be a block that we pass in because it has to do all this setup to confirm the user. Okay, but for now, we're not going to do that. Every time we're on the stream, we get to the same place. Let's just lift all of this. Yep, very healthy, very healthy. Again, there's loads of stuff we haven't done. Don't worry about it. It's the stream. Organization we need, event we need because we're nested within it. The index action is within here. Event orders, and this is going to be attendees. As an admin, just signing you up. Great. So all this is really doing is expecting us to have a page there. So this should just fail because we've got nothing. We've got none of that stuff. Yep, got no root, got no controller, got no nothing. But I think this should all work. Let's go build it. So let's build our root first. So within our admin events orders, we're now going to put in attendees. We're only going to have an index. We're only just going to look at them for now. And that'll do. Then within our controllers, admin events, orders controller, let's lift a bunch of this stuff out as well. Some renaming. Set events, set orders, but we're not setting orders, we are setting attendees. And then in here, just stuff in here. Let's lift all of that. Again, loads of shared stuff. I think this can be shared between all of these. That test now pass? No, because there's no view. Yep, so we've got no template. That's what that error is saying. Admin events orders, but we've got admin events. Attendees. And this is going to be called attendees, and we've got orders and order list component, which doesn't exist yet. But we should be able to get to the test passing because it doesn't care what's actually on the page. Yep, so that now works. So we can let's sort of do a commit of that to begin with. We've got the controller, root, controller, request spec, and a blank view. Let's commit that really quickly. Add initial event attendees. Page in admin. Okay, so this commit the controller and provides a nearly blank view. DNA and subsequent commits we will add in content. Yeah, whatever that'll do for now. So we should actually be able to link to this now. So from our component where we are looking at admin events list item component, here we should be able to do attendees, admin event, attendees path. Boom, and we have attendees. So what we actually need the view components for this. And we've done this before, where we're doing admin, events, orders. We're going to make a new folder called attendees. So anywhere where we're going to list lots of attendees in admin, we're going to use these. And we always end up with a bunch of these being duplicated. So we've got a list component and a list item component. So one component wrapping the other. Again, no idea if this is actually a good way to do this. I'm still fairly new to view components, so this might totally come back to bite me in the butt. But it seems it's working. So let's just lift these out then. Shit, did I just duplicate the entire folder? Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so this is attendee list component. This component. Just so much renaming. Admin attendees. Attendee list item component. With collection attendees. Because that's all this is doing. There's going to be other stuff here, but this is basically the moment wrapping the actual list items. And this is all wrong names. So this is admin attendees, attendee list component. And that's plural, isn't it? Yeah. Great, so that's that one done. So this all says blah, 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 attendees stuff. And that is all that great. So then everything in here, import over and rename as well. I'm guessing there's like a bulk rename option in VS Code. I just don't know how to do it. So I just have to go old school. Okay, so we're going to rename all these. Admin, attendee list item. They're all going to be gray. Amazing. And let's just do this first part, because I think all these are going to be the same. That's good. And then in here, we can have attendee, 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 attendee. Right, this can all go, because that's all for the event. Got an attendee record. Said the word attendee 4 million times. And I think they have a name attribute. I'll do. Right, I've just renamed a million things. Hopefully that does something. And now if we uncomment in the view, or undo, I think. Close a bunch of this stuff in our view, which was admin, events, attendees. We had this, and we would want it to do okay, does this work? Potentially, but we would need to find Yeah. What was the other organization name that we had? It was like some org or something. This one. Amazing. Look at all these wonderful attendees. So in here, you can go and see all of the orders. These ones are broken because they're from before we added the database validation. So you can see that some of these orders don't have attendees. They wouldn't get created now. They would be invalid legacy data. That's just because the order we ran the migration in. But the attendees that do exist all share the same name. So that's all good. Those have been created correctly. And now what we can do, so we've got like John Smith in here. So now if we come out of here and go just to the attendees, we should see John Smith in here. Amazing. Okay, so we can see attendees. Let's tidy up after ourselves. Oh my God, all of... Oh, that's just... That was the one that we had that was a junk. That one's fine. So what we want is all of these ones. Add view components for attendees in admin area. And duplicate what we had for events and orders. See, just telling myself that I just copied what was already there. Great. So in this one, so what did we add as a request or system spec for orders? So admin events, orders controller spec. Yeah, this is the test I was saying a couple of streams ago that I wasn't really sure about. It's like checking that the scope is correct, that we're only bringing back. Shows orders for this event. So we sort of want at least the same thing, I guess. I'm not convinced it's hugely valuable. So let's just see. I think I'm missing an end there. Okay, so that one's that, and then on the what we did here, as we said, yeah, this isn't very resilient, this test, I don't think. I think this will pass because it's an exclusion test anyway, and to get it to see that test fail. We could do... Yeah, not convinced by this at all. But also not convinced that code is sticking around, so for this stage and for the live stream, fine. There's a test that does sort of a thing. That's a Spirit Max. That's right, let's add that then. So in previous commits, we've added the controller, added the root controller, and key component to view all attendees for an event. And admin in this commit, we're rendering the attendees heading test 2. Sure they appear. Yeah. Add link to that's just adding a link there. I think we're fine for now. Then this, I don't know if we can actually have this stick around. That's just like showing that was showing the attendees on the order information, but they're broken anyway because we've got legacy data. So like this one doesn't have an attendee, but that's now an invalid record in the database, but that's just because of development. All right, cool. So something that can go right. We've got to fix the bug. It's a bug that we listed in Notion, which is that when you go to, if you have the slug name for an event is scoped to the organization, but that is not tracked here. And I didn't want to scope the new orders page to the organization, which I'm now thinking, I'm wondering whether that's a mistake. Maybe we do want to do that. But we're over a couple of hours, so I think that's where we're going to pick up next week. Let's fix that. I think we have to pass the organization in here somehow, in which case we sort of are scoping it. So maybe this is, instead of /order/new, maybe it's Sunday-club /order/new. Or we have some other param. I mean, we would alternatively just put the event equals, and the event and the organization could go in there as well. And again, you could sort of have either, so you could have it like you could do order/new/ that being the /Sunday club/ that would work, and then this one would be the org name on there. But I don't know, let's discuss all this next week. That we have done a bunch of tests which are a very mixed value, but it's the live stream and you get what you get. Yeah, hopefully people are still finding these things useful. I super appreciate comments and everything that people are leaving and all that fun stuff. Yeah, definitely progress is markedly slower because we're actually doing the work to add the tests and make sure that everything works. But I think we're at the point now where with the UI we could tidy this up and actually like have people register and store it in a database, and sort of you start to draw that really early line of like, right, we're going to put data in a system. Normally it wouldn't be this early and you'd have a proper plan. Like I always say, like we're not really planning stuff on the stream, but it'd be fun. Like we could see people using it. All right, let's see where we get to next week. No commitments. We're just going to have fun with it and have wonderful weeks. I will see you all, if not before, then next Sunday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.